Okay, hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you are doing well. If you would take a moment to pull up a chair so I can regale with a tale of fail coming straight from our subreddit Fantano Forever, which we will link down below. We recommend that you join today. Maybe some of you guys can, beef the community up a little bit, raise the numbers, and also raise the quality and the sanity over there. I mean, most likely anybody watching this video will just contribute to the insanity, but I can always hope. While we're mentioning little enclaves within our audience, let's also give a shout out to that Patreon page, that sweet ass Patreon page where you get some extra bonus monthly content, access to our Discord community, and a bunch of other cool stuff too. But yes, there was a little drama, some recent and very funny goings on at the Fantano Forever subreddit, and they are as follows. Basically, a poster over there decided to propose a pretty innocuous task of making an album of the decade list, going year by year, whichever album gets, the most votes, so on and so forth, is that album of the year. The thread was getting a moderately good amount of engagement, but there was a hint of partiality there already from the jump with some of the suggested albums that could be thrown into the thread as a vote. As it was pretty much expected, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy won Album of the Year 2010. Things continued rolling into 2011 with Danny Brown's Triple X, and then of course in 2012, Good Kid, Mad City. What else record would win that year? Maybe a little Death Grips, but Kendrick is obviously the more agreeable pick. But then as these little threads and polls started running, I guess there was a bit of unhappiness with the lack of stylistic diversity among the number one picks. Oh, there's a lot of hip-hop here, isn't there, guys, boys? There's a lot of hip-hop here. Aren't there genres that aren't hip-hop? I don't know why that would be an issue, given that hip-hop has been very prevalently one of the most dominant musical art forms of the 2010s, especially within the realms of like music nerddom. You can't say that these albums that have been picked so far aren't like super beloved records among music fans across the board. Not only that, but like hip hop has proven to be very popular consistently with young people. A lot of my audience is young. And on top of it, like whenever you're doing some kind of like mass poll or assessment among numerous people of like what album or piece of art is the best, of course the pick you are going to arrive to is not the most bold, out there, or unique. It's going to be the most agreed upon, the most agreeable pick, the most entry-level pick. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, there are lots of albums that many people love that are pretty agreed upon widely. OK Computer, for example, just because a lot of people like it and say it's good doesn't mean it's bad. Like, this is just the nature of polling things widely in this way. But thankfully, Daft Punk's Random Access Memories came through in 2013 with a combo breaker. But then we went back to the number one rap picks with Pinata in 2014.
Going into the 2015 poll, the anti-rap dissidence was reaching a boiling point, and this wasn't helped by OP voicing confidence in who the winner would be this time.
But despite all of the odds against it, the pick that ended up coming through for 2015 at number one was Rae Jepsen's Emotion. It won fair and square, but for whatever reason, the original poster of these threads did not believe this was a legitimate pick. Yes, this pick of a very legitimate, fantastic pop record was labeled or declared as a shitpost, when in fact, Emotion among music nerd types is one of the most beloved pop records of the 2010s. While maybe there may have been a bit of a communal silliness afoot in terms of wanting to get something else at number one besides a hip-hop record, it is a good album, and a lot of people love that fucking Carly record, are living and dying by it. Figuratively speaking, this was a smack of the hornet's nest, because I guess in 2016 what ended up taking it was Rae Jepsen's Emotion Side B, which was actually also a great project. I love that one. But I guess the angry Carly fans, combined with a bit of brigading from the Rae Jepsen subreddit, shout out to you guys, thanks for coming through. Make sure to hit us with a follow on Fantano Forever if you're watching this, thank you. Yeah, they also just wanted to come through and represent for their girl. There was a formal apology from the original poster for referring to the original Carly win as a shitpost. And sadly, this dream of having a very nice album of the decade thread going, yeah, that pretty much folded and it fell down like a house of cards. The damage had already been done by that point, and the record that won for 2017, the next year, was Carly Rae Jepsen's Emotion Side C, a project that doesn't even exist. Sadly, the original poster just kind of, hit the eject button on this whole social experiment up to this point and just like deleted all the threads and all the posts and all the conversations. We're done here, boys. But you know what? Thankfully, somebody took up the mantle who was a part of the Fantano Forever subreddit. Shout out to this guy over here who decided to, essentially continue on from where the thread had last left off. In that respect, this is really a hero's tale, as the original OP fought valiantly in battle against one of the most vicious and confusing and also petty and harsh audiences on YouTube, my audience. He had felt the blade, unfortunately, and just had to give up in shame. My audience, the most vicious and difficult Dark Souls boss, making it impossible to have anything nice. But then in their tendency to ruin things, they end up making something entirely different and beautiful on its own. So yeah, it looks like in 2018 in these continued threads, it was Sophie who won. That's really cool.
And at long last, we've made it to 2019. Things really came full circle when none other than Carly Rae Jepsen's Dedicated closed it all out. Carly earned her hat trick after all, and the subreddit lived happily ever after, hopefully never trying something like this again.
And yeah, that's essentially my audience in a nutshell. They like, nerdy hip hop albums that are very popular and Carly Rae Jepsen. Those are the two genders within my audience. And for anybody who's not in that binary, you of course have Daft Punk and Sophie. Shout out to the subreddit for this absolute madness. Join up today and try to have some fun over there, I guess, if you can. Thank you for watching, and shout out to everyone at the subreddit who made this possible. Anthony Fantano, Fantano forever, forever.